Alan Ritchson has really set 2024 up to be a colossal year for his career, following up on the success of Amazon's Reacher Season 2. Well, a lot of people say that it's not quite as good as Season 1, and hey man, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for the rest of the competition because it skyrocketed to the top of the charts, and well, like I said a little bit earlier, people didn't regard it as well as Season 1, it was still very well received, especially in light of softer competition. And then to follow that up with a relatively highly anticipated film from Guy Ritchie, somebody else who has also set up 2024 to be a great year for his career to come back, following up on the success of the Gentleman series on Netflix that is highly regarded. These two stars and a couple of other ones for this upcoming project that Ritchson is out there promoting was truly, and still is in many ways, a fantastic opportunity to create another action star. Couple that with, Alan's very public advocation to be Bruce Wayne, to take up the mantle as James Gunn's token Batman in his DCU. A lot of people are on the guy's side, and then he did an interview with Entertainment Weekly, and oh god, I'm not gonna take this away from him. Alan Ritchson says that Reacher is American James Bond. He could be very well correct. The way that it's written could in fact end up being fairly analogous. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. And the way that he loves the characters that he portrays, you really do like to see that in an actor. It's just all of the extracurricular stuff, but we'll get to that. Alan Ritchson doesn't want to License to Kill as the next James Bond because he's already got one on Reacher. I don't really know if he would ever be floated that role. For as many people, and I remember back in the cut, that were big upset about, that guy over my personal left-hand shoulder, camera right. Daniel Craig being the blonde Bond. Now we have so many other problems with that, but Aaron Taylor Johnson, seems like if he is in fact, he's been rumored, and then it's like, he never got offered the role, but hey man, a lot of people look at it and it's like, well, it does kind of fit. There's no real gimmick over the top of it. He's young enough to play it for a long enough period of time, and he does check most of the boxes, so not a bad choice. Not a bad choice at all. So in the future, despite its lauded legacy, because he considers his titular character of the Prime Video series Reacher to be his own version of Bond, and in fact, even better. And I really wish we could continue throughout this entire video of me just simply praising the way that he would characterize certain things, raising things up without having to tear down others. Well, that's just, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, that's just simply not going to be the case. It's funny. I kind of feel like Reacher is the American James Bond, Ritchson tells Entertainment Weekly, and I've never had more fun playing a character. I love those larger-than-life, over-the-top action thrillers and spy movies and the heists that are smart and ahead of their audience. That's really great, but I feel like Bond, to me personally, people are going to hate me for saying this, I love Bond, but I feel like it's all a little misogynistic and predictable at this point. Yeah, this is where it all starts to fall apart. Bond is misogynistic. All right, cool. Are we going to go back and under what you would characterize as being misogynistic? Do you think that your character of Reacher would go ahead and pass that smell test? I'm just wondering. Predictable at this point. Oh yeah, it was predictable for him to get tucked out by a woman and then die at the end of that atrocious final installment in the Daniel Craig regime. Oh, very predictable. Ritchson adds that he'll always love the way Bond can play 4D chess and stay ahead of us and save the world, but he views the character as a bit outdated now. Really, because I seem to recall back in 2006 when Casino Royale came out that it was an updated take on a character to bring him into the 21st century. And as great as Casino Royale is, the rest of the follow-ups, I would exclude Skyfall. I think that it's still pretty good, but it's been a long time since I watched it. I just frankly like the poster more than I think I like the movie. I think it might be a little long and a bit convoluted, but like I said, it's been a minute, but outdated, really. And you think that as James Bond takes your spicy Reacher to me is like the American Bond. And I think it's a cool way to go about doing it, where it's a little less purposefully cool. He says, "It's not in how slick he is. I don't feel like we can have characters these days that are in on the joke. Either they know that they're funny, or they know that they're smart. They know that they're very cool, or capable, or invincible. I feel like it reduces the stakes of stories, and we've seen too many movies. We're too savvy as an audience to be entertained by that." Yeah, there's far too many, when you're describing your character, too many feels and feminine assumptions for me to really start to take any of your interviews seriously. Like I said, man, Alan Ritchson, he does look the part for being Batman, okay? As an actor, he's highly lauded for the roles that he's in, and a lot of people are looking forward to, like I set it up beforehand, Guy Ritchie's The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is a really good ensemble cast, mostly spearheaded by somebody who has also had a checkered past with James Bond, and somebody who is starting to really look like the mirror version of Alan Ritchson. We're talking about Henry Cavill, but we'll get to him in a little bit, because for as much praise as I think Ritchson deserves for, hyping up his own character that he's playing, saying that how much he likes it, playing up the attributes that make it a very compelling character in his own opinion. Yeah, we could do without tearing down the things that you don't like. Saying that James Bond's trash, how does that make the character of Reacher any better? It doesn't. All that does is make you less endearing to the crossover audience that you would share with James Bond or the Bond faithful. And you want to couple that in with incredibly controversial anti-Trump sentiments, and not just Trump sentiments, okay? Conservative voters in general. It's like, do you think that this is 2018? Do you think that you can get away with crap like this? Listen, man, I've given this guy the benefit of the doubt multiple times. Applying death of the author, okay, just simply looking at the art as opposed to the artist. I've known about his rather leftist perspective on the world. He's a Christian, he's got a family, but then at the same time, he spouts off with all of your standard boilerplate democratic fare that wouldn't look anywhere out of place outside of a Stephen King or Mark Hamill tweet, okay? This guy's completely off the reservation on certain occasions, but he's immensely talented, so a lot of people just simply look the other way. But we're here. We here now. You want to be bringing Bond into the 21st century? Okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and reset the date. It's 2024. This holier than thou, I know better than you persona that a lot of actors put forth isn't flying anymore. Okay, so for you to just go, "Hey guys, did you know Orange Man bad?" You're not going to endear yourself to anybody. You play roles that already, your leftist cabal of weirdos that you're trying to pander to by going, "Oh, the Orange Man bad." And we'll get into his comments here very shortly. I'm just setting the stage on this one. You aren't going to win anybody to your side, because intrinsically, they're going to take a look at the roles that you play and cast them aside as boomer nip, dad movies. Hell, might even throw back the description that your toxic masculinity and your overt misogyny. I just can't support anything like that. And we know how flighty the leftist audience is. So when you're playing these action roles, these very apolitical action roles, who do you think your audience is generally? The one that you just took a giant dump on. Yo, man, what are you doing out here? These are comments that could maybe fly from 2015 all the way up until 2020, but we are well removed of that. They were never popular to begin with. They are just extremely unpalatable now in the current day. A Reacher star, Alan Ritchson, has upset a large portion of his fan base after making comments about Donald Trump that the former president's followers viewed as offensive. Well, they are. Okay, they were meant with offense. I'm not going to be, staying up at night thinking it's like, oh my God, Alan Ritchson doesn't like Donald Trump. I don't care. But I will tell you who will care. That's your prospective audience. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Ritchson, a devout Christian, discussed his faith and how he sees politics as a corrupting force within Christianity. Now, see, you'd almost have me on side with this one. I'm a Christian, quite simply because of what Jesus calls us to do. Love other people until death. It doesn't mean we're all to be hung on a cross, but how can I suffer for you? That's a beautiful thing. But Christians have become the most vitriolic tribe. The 41-year-old actor added, "Really? Christians are the most vitriolic." Okay. What happened recently in Australia? Were they chanting Allahu Jesus? I can't quite remember. And what is also going on right now in the Middle East? It's devout Christians that are trying to do a land grab. Oh, right, yeah. See, clearly two obvious examples as to why Christians are the most vitriolic. It is so antithetical to what Jesus was calling us to be and to do. While Reacher was popular with conservatives, it was often hailed as anti-woke show during its second season. It wasn't so much anti-woke as just simply apolitical, which you never had to point out older films, older work as being, and give it credit for that. But after years and years of overt, even though I would argue for a lot longer it has been a much more covert effort to introduce those talking points, it's just now it's become so smack dab obvious right in your face. People are giving the simplest of praises to the simplest of stories for the simple fact that they aren't trying to push an agenda. I don't know, we got to listen to the actor about how this is actually, a bad thing. Ritchson didn't bat an eye in calling out the former president. Remember, he's a devout Christian and all this stuff. Trump is a con man and, wow. All right then. You want to base it on anything, my guy? He said in the interview. And yet the entire Christian church seems to treat him like he's their poster child, and it's unreal. I don't understand it. Oh, he's one of these fast food super church Christians. Oh, I understand. Ritchson didn't mince words when discussing the Catholic Church either. It's worth saying that the atrocities that are happening in the church that are being actively covered up, even to this day, of people not being held accountable, is repulsive. I can't for 1 second support the Catholic Church while they're still cardinals, bishops, priests, being passed around with known tendencies of, the ones that are normally analogous to your old hack late 90s, early 2000s stand-ups. The actor also discussed unaccountable police departments, the problems with child models, and other issues facing Hollywood and our culture broadly speaking. Yeah, and at no point in time, because the media is totally complicit in this, and they would have prompted these types of responses, did nobody just go around and go, "Sir, this is a Wendy's, okay? Can we go ahead and point this to this upcoming Guy Ritchie film where you have a star-studded cast, somebody who I would have thought, okay, you rubbing shoulders with on a daily basis, maybe some of his tendencies would have worn off on you." Talking about Henry Cavill once again, and this is an infamous clip at this point in time about how to handle deriding an entire segment of your audience, okay? When Henry Cavill, when he was talking about The Witcher, okay, in promotion of, that would have been season 1 in 2019, he was asked about what would happen, okay, what would happen if he had to deal with toxic fandoms, okay? And then his expert pivot was, when it comes to fans, it's a fan's right to have whatever opinion they want to have, and people are going to be upset. I don't necessarily consider that toxic. I just consider that passion. That has been the gold standard response over the past 3.5 years since he dropped that, because you had an interviewer trying to poke and prod in order to get a sound bite of, we can get Superman, he was Superman at the time, remember, taking a dump on fans, and we want that. But no, Henry Cavill, a very devout nerd of Warhammer, very much loved and appreciated his time as Clark Kent, has spoken with nothing but praise in regards to James Bond, and overall, outside of a couple of fringe weirdos, has nothing but great rapport with the audience. So crazy to think that we're going to have another Henry Cavill movie in the form of, I need to get the title of this correct, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It's a actual Henry Cavill movie that is going to be torpedoed by another brain-dead ideologue. How does this keep happening to this poor guy? But I'll be completely honest, man. All the goodwill that Ritchson has accrued over the previous years, if it's not interviews like this, if he ever does get cast, because this is going to be music to the ears, the comments that he's saying to James Gunn, because we know his proclivities. So if he does get cast as Batman, this is something else that Henry Cavill can impart on you. If you want to talk about rabid fan bases, ones that you need to work to earn the trust of, it's DC fans that are out there. Okay, and they come from every single walk of life, especially ones of the legacy variety. Some of the fringe, newer ones that just want to see Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy scissor, or wonder which iteration of Robin that we can go ahead and turn gay this week. No, you start to mess with Batman, you don't have the correct casting on him that the fans think that they are entitled to. Ask Michael Keaton. Ask Robert Pattinson what that stuff's like. And if you're just going to go ahead and give the DC faithful fodder like this, you're setting yourself up for failure. And like I said, man, this stuff would have been just, basic bitch sentiment back in the cut, but we're in 2024. point in time when streaming services are walking a very trepidatious tightrope, when Hollywood is looking more vulnerable than ever, you do stuff like this. Alienate an audience for no reason at all whatsoever. Well, to paraphrase another very famous DC character, one that theoretically he would like to be facing off against in a film in the very far future, you get what you fucking deserve. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.